You're singing the trumpets.
Man, that podcast just singing the trumpets.
Singing the trumpets.
That's got to be our nonfiction side. Singing the trumpets.
Yeah. Oh my god. So funny. For whatever reason, I'm just gonna do this. I don't even know why exactly I'm doing this. I'm just.
Oh.
Look at that.
Gotta sync it with our video.
Gotta sync for a thing that doesn't exist. Sometimes I just do it to clap and like mark something for myself.
Yeah. That's always useful, seeing the spike in the waveform.
Yeah, but the thing is that happens every time you laugh anyway, so it's always... There's a lot of spikes in the waveform.
Really, I'm a natural marker.
Yeah.
My name is Peter Thiel, and welcome to my 4-part lecture on the Antichrist.
This is what that is, right?
Yeah.
He's doing 4 parts. I mean, I think I could fill half an hour.
There's a lot of ground to cover.
If I was trying to be like a serious academic, and people ask me, all right, what do you think about the Antichrist? I could fill half an hour. But I feel like what this is Peter Thiel going, I want to talk a lot and give everybody my entire worldview on everything that's going on today, and I just want to name it something interesting so that people will pay attention. People care about the Antichrist, don't they?
That's
people kind of think I'm the Antichrist.
Who is Peter Thiel? I have no idea.
He's this major investment guy. Yeah.
He's an investment man.
Owns a lot of tech, or owns major stakes in a lot of tech. So Thiel Capital, big time investor guy.
Oh.
Yeah. He's a big driving force for AI right now.
Huh.
Yeah, so let's see. This is why his name tends to come up. He's one of these billionaires who has ideas about how the world should be. I like the billionaires who are like that but are quiet.
Yeah.
Who don't tell you their opinions every 5 minutes. You know, Mark Andreessen has a problem where he just keeps shooting his mouth off. Just have your ideas quietly. Manipulate things behind the scenes. We don't need to hear all of the ideas. This is what I think it is. I think it's the real problem we have today is that billionaires are too loud. They all want to be like Elon and have interesting Twitter accounts or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys aren't that fun.
I want to have quips.
Elon's not even as fun as Elon anymore. Anyway. Welcome back to the Forest Creek podcast.
Well, thank you.
Welcome back. It's been months and months. This is the first time we've recorded this year, but this is the first time that publishing this year. Yes. Hopefully getting this episode out before the end of September, barring any major disasters,
nice.
which tend to happen these days, you know? There's a lot of excuses that a person can have normally to edit a podcast, but the world has been giving me some fun and unconventional excuses recently. Anyway, so it's been a number of months since we last... I was about to say recorded, but again, It's been a number of months since we last released the podcast. Shooting my mouth off now.
You're singing the trumpets.
I'm singing
over
the
there.
trumpets.
I love this saying.
Yeah, because I was trying to hum the 20th Century Fox thing as I was adjusting the microphones, and it's singing the trumpets.
Yeah.
Which is like what a lot of podcasts goes like. It's me and my friend, and we tell stories and we laugh.
And it's like, me and my buddy have a podcast, but the twist is we joke around sometimes.
Now those guys are singing the trumpets. We don't sing the trumpets here. We're interested in meaning. We're interested in impactful things that bring value to your life, the listener, so that you can pretend to be important while you fold laundry. The thing I've always been fascinated with is profundity, which is a word I've had to define here before.
I was just going to say define.
It means the profound.
Oh.
Something that is profound has a quality of profundity to it.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So, in the spirit of profundity, we thought it would be interesting, normally what we would do is we do like a New Year's podcast where we talk about what are our New Year's themes, our resolutions, our things that we're going to try to do. Then we try to have like a middle of the year episode where we talk about, how are those things going. So now having come back after a while, we thought this would be interesting to do a synthesis episode. What have we learned since we last left off? What have we learned along the way? A short history of this podcast is that I started it after trying to start multiple podcasts.
With terrible names.
Yeah, terrible names.
Awful names.
We won't revisit them. All of the names are Voldemort. Beetlejuice. And and then eventually we landed on this podcast, which has a good name, but
I concur.
but not really any thesis. Yeah. At least it was a podcast I started for the sake of having a podcast because I was interested in podcasting and at least learning about podcasts. That's a lot of times to say podcast in a sentence.
Podcast.
And then we proceeded to record the first 6 episodes, which were just on whatever we happened to think was interesting at the moment.
Yeah.
And
it was in a car.
It was very farcical. The whole thing was very farcical. It took a lot of effort to figure out how microphones work and how to edit this thing. And, if you follow along, you kind of get a glimpse into my technical journey of what it was like for me to learn to edit podcasts, as well as times that I have definitely slacked off in editing podcasts. Anytime that you're feeling like, oh, that lo-fi music is getting a bit loud, that's me not paying attention to it. Mistakes were made. I humbly acknowledge this, but I'm not stepping down. No, we're back.
Crank that lo-fi. We're leaning into every mistake.
Yeah, so we took a break this year. We had a lot going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to come back in the fall. Not just like before. My goal now is to try to find ways to provide value to the audience. And not just in the sense that for entertainment.
Specified, clear ways, not just a general podcast where we talk about random things.
And occasionally joke around.
The twist.
But also educational stuff. Stuff that we learned along the way. Stuff that is self-improvement. Clearly defined as such, not just hoping to stumble on some cool ideas as we go. And also a career pursuit, but we will get to that in our announcements at the end of the episode. First, things that we learned along the way. The synthesis episode. I want to start off with something really interesting that you did this year. It was, I think, this year. Maybe it was also last year. Because I recall you taking time off to not be around people.
Yeah.
Before.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Can you explain what that was? That resolution?
Yeah. So that was last August, sometime around there. I made the conscious effort to see how many plans I could make and attend in a week, and it turns out I'm fully capable of filling every single minute of my day with hanging out with people outside of work.
You have a pretty wide social group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have many friend groups and all across the Lower Mainland. And so I would hang out with all of them all the time and also fit in running a book club 3 times a week, reading 2 different books. So that got a lot. And I kind of got burned out last fall after a few months of it and tried to stop, but everybody got so accustomed to me being available and saying yes that they kept asking, even when I'd said, hey, I'm not making any plans this month. Don't ask me to make plans. And still every single friend group would have at least 3 or 4 people that would ask me to make plans.
Yes.
And I would say no to only half of them because I'm terrible at saying no. And so I didn't really get a break, and it just felt awful to say no to everybody, and I was still dissatisfied with it.
Eventually, it seems like it came around to some kind of equilibrium.
Sort of. I kind of was able to pull back, but never really able to... I kind of got to a point where I was able to make just 2 to 3 plans a week.
Yeah.
And that started by making Sundays a no plans day. It was either Saturday or Sunday.
Which is very sociable of you. Because me, I do like 1 or 2 plans every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I space people out.
Whenever I've taken personality tests in the past, I was on the border of introvert and extrovert, slightly over to the extrovert side.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that means, but it apparently means my social battery is enormous. And I can hang out with people forever. And then I'll just need a day to myself. But I think it kind of accumulates and picks up to me, because outside of hanging out with people, I found I entirely lost the ability to care about text messages. And so I used to respond to messages instantly.
Yeah.
And I would not understand why people wouldn't respond instantly to a message when they have their phone on them. And now I still have people waiting for me to respond to them. Well, they're probably not waiting, but I remember the text messages that they sent me like nearly a year ago.
I've taken notice of the latency just because I've known you for so long.
Yeah.
Where like I remember being younger and just in the same neighborhood, and I'd message you and within the instant something back, and then we're hanging out like the next minute. Now it's like I have to be strategic about it. I
Yeah.
can't have something that's waiting on your response. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, like, you know.
I remember even you and a few other people last year were texting me, "Hey, are you okay?"
So I'm like,
I'd get one or two messages,
yeah.
and then a week or so later, I would have not have responded because I've gotten like 50 messages.
Yeah.
And then people start asking me, "Are you okay?" And that makes me not want to answer even more because I've already been thinking about answering every single message. And then they answer again, so now I feel worse. But also, my timer has reset. So now I get another week before I have to respond to you. Yeah, and so I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, if it doesn't need an instant response and I don't have the energy to respond to it, swipe, get rid of that.
Anyway.
I'll respond to that later.
So this year,
Yeah.
you decided to take a month off. This is where I want to kind of like illustrate what we're doing.
Yes.
Thesis.
So that was...
Why did you do that?
That was work related. But I
Work-related.
guess it was also similar because in December last year, I felt so burnt out and bogged down from a work sense. It's like outside of work, I was fine. Still trying not to make plans with people, whatever. It was a work sense of I was so tired of it that I needed a time off now, instantly, in December. And I was like, I realized I'd been propositioned to go to Hong Kong.
Propositioned?
Yeah, a guy said, "Hey, do you want to come to Hong Kong?"
Okay, because that
Yeah.
does sound a little bit like you were... Never mind.
There was sex involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I got an offer to go to Hong Kong, and my brother was getting married, and my Australian family was coming in to see him get married.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw this Aussie family was 2020. So I liked them, and I wanted to see them and hang out with them.
It's crazy to think that was half a decade ago.
Yeah.
That was half a decade we tried starting this thing.
Freaking crazy.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. But
Crazy.
yeah, it's like, so I hadn't seen them in half a decade, and hopefully my brother will never get married again. And I needed some time to go to Hong Kong, and I'd been wanting to take a long time off. And so what I did was I booked that entire month off, all of April. And so all I knew is that it's like, I don't hate my job or anything. I'm not dissatisfied for the most part. It's like there are things I would change, but I love my work. I love the people I work with. And so from that front, I knew it wasn't I hate my job and I need to get a new job and I need to get rid of all of this. It was, I just need to not come into work for a while. That's it. That's all I thought. I didn't think I'll go do that, I'll be so refreshed, any of that. It's just, nope, I just need to not be here.
Well, I mean, those are both the sides of what a vacation is. It's like a release valve for you. Because it's like if you continue on in the monotony of your life for too long, you need something to break it up. You need something to change things for you so that you can, you know, a little bit of time off is nice, but people often spend their time off just recollecting themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe you're just backloading chores to do, which is like what that's what an adult does with their Saturdays. Their chores, right?
Yeah, I guess being around mid to late December, I was
Yeah.
also thinking about New Year's resolution, the theme for it. And so when it came to booking the entire month off, that was thinking around my year of doing.
Yes.
And because that was my whole theme, was I need to do things. Because I think too much. It's just, I come up with ideas and thoughts and philosophies, and then I don't do anything, and I stay the same. And so this was my year, super vague, of doing things. If I could just do something, and as long as I wasn't sitting around thinking and just following routine, then I was succeeding in my goal. And so my buddy asked me to go to Hong Kong, and I was like, that sounds great. I need time off anyways.
So this is an interesting part because one of your things and one of my things both travel.
Yeah.
And we both traveled at the same time.
I think that was the
which
best
really
thing,
funny.
that we did
Yeah.
not coordinate taking the exact same 2 weeks off, like give or take a day.
Yeah. And you went to Hong Kong.
Yeah. And you went to Japan.
Yes. Which I will get to, but I want to follow your journey first. This is your month off. What did you think Hong Kong would be like? Why did you go? Why did you say yes?
I said yes for 2 reasons. He told me accommodations would be fully covered because he grew up there, so we were staying with his family.
Cool.
And everything there was insanely cheap. So with a small budget, I could do everything in Hong Kong.
In that part of the world, that is totally true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for living expenses. because living expenses are like triple what they are
That
here,
is
if not
one of the
more.
really interesting things about Hong Kong. As an island with limited space, real estate there gets like through the roof.
It's insane. We told them about our rent here in Vancouver, and everybody in Vancouver complains about the housing market
It's
and the
very
rents.
crazy, yeah.
Insane.
But you understand people in Hong Kong, they sell their house, their
Yeah.
apartment, and they come here and invest in 4 apartments. Yeah.
Because we told them about our rent, and they were like, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
Everybody here is complaining about rent, and over there they're like, "That's incredible. Only $3,000 a month."
Which is funny because then they come over here and they do that investment, then they raise our rent.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, my year of doing. Because normally I would be more hesitant for it, and I probably would have said no.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is my year to do things, and I have the opportunity to do it, and it's cheaper than it normally would be in any other scenario. Like, if I travel anywhere on my own, I'm paying all those living expenses, but I had a place to stay, and I had a guy who grew up there, so I also had a guide of all the local things of all of Hong Kong, which is my favorite part of traveling, is not all the tourist things, but it's going to wherever the locals go and actually experiencing what the real country
The
is
hole
like.
in the wall.
Not what the
Yeah.
painted picture for all the tourists who come by is. It's like, I want to know about like my friend there, he grew up there, and so we went to a bar, and he knew the owner. And it's like,
Yeah.
after that bar, he took me to a speakeasy, and so there was a jazz club down a dark. It was literally a pitch black hallway, like alleyway, and with trash bags that smelled like dead fish everywhere. And then we ring on a doorbell in pitch black, and somebody opens the door and says whatever 40 Hong Kong dollars is, which is like maybe 50 cents. Yeah, and so it's like, that's the cover charge, and you go in and it's a smooth jazz club. That's all improvised.
You guys did a lot of bars.
Yeah.
A lot of drinking.
Not insane. We did a lot of Soho.
Soho.
Yeah. Soho is my favorite area in all of Hong Kong.
Cool.
Yeah, because the streets there, it's like, they're designed for both cars and walking. And so a car can drive by, but also I can take 2 steps and I'm on the other side of the road.
Your story was really fun to follow the whole time you were there. Especially because I was also doing my story at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah.
And I would look over and be like, you're meeting so many people and hanging out with so many people. I was like, which it seemed like an extrovert.
Yeah, we
vacation.
had like the opposite.
Yeah.
Because you had a very silent trip going alone.
I want to follow yours first, and then we'll
Okay,
talk about mine.
okay.
Because we're still in your month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, because one thing that my buddy pointed out in Hong Kong that's really interesting, just in the way people are in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
is that every single person there, for the most part, can not just hold a conversation, but extend it and make it last. Whereas here, if you're talking with somebody, you better really both love the same thing that you're talking about.
Otherwise, their biggest goal is to just exit the conversation quickly.
It's gonna
as possible.
fizzle out. If you have a group of people, it can fizzle. In Hong Kong, you can't finish a sentence before 2 or 3 other people have started a new one on the same subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like flip-flops around, and it's like you have to. Essentially, I feel like people learn really quickly in Hong Kong and naturally that to talk. Otherwise, you're just gonna stand there silent the whole time, forever. The thing I learned, because I went there with my friend Fred, and he knew everybody there. So he had a whole bunch of high school friends, people he grew up with in, like, whatever, college and things like that. And then just people he knew around, because he was in a jazz band for like 5 years. That's where, like, with this bartender, that's how we knew
Nice.
the guy who owned this bar. And it's a
Yeah.
tiny little hole in the wall. Like, all of the shops in Hong Kong are like the size of my apartment.
So it was a pretty
They're really
jam-packed trip.
Yeah. Yeah, we did almost everything you could do in Hong Kong.
What did you not expect about Hong Kong? What's something that like changed
I guess
as you were there?
here's one thing that I thought was the most hilarious and I love so much, which is unfortunate that they're phasing it out, but it's the bamboo scaffolding.
Bamboo scaffolding.
Yeah, so I didn't know this was a thing, but Fred had told me about it beforehand. That it's like, yeah, they don't have steel scaffolding like we do. It's all bamboo.
Huh.
There's maybe 2 buildings that have steel scaffoldings, because the funniest thing is that they're switching over to steel because it looks safer. But bamboo apparently is actually safer than like whatever steel bars.
I mean, it's lighter to begin with, so
Yeah.
if there's ever an accident or collapse or something, it's not as bad to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
And then bamboo has a greater degree of flex to it.
Yeah, far
Yeah.
greater.
Yeah. Like, and also way cheaper because it grows like crazy and it's like literally everywhere. Yeah.
Dude, there's so freaking much bamboo in Hong Kong. It's insane.
Yeah.
That's up.
And that's an island.
Yeah.
That's an island.
Yeah.
There's a whole mainland of China that is full of bamboo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it was awesome. We went to Macau as well, which is apparently technically a different country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Macau was fascinating. It's
Oh,
like,
one thing I didn't expect. We went to Disneyland in Hong Kong. There's a Disneyland in Hong Kong
oh yeah.
that has its own... It's not called the SkyTrain, it's called the MTR, which I don't remember what it stands for. It's like Metro Train Rail or something. But MTR, and it's literally the Disney train. All the windows are Mickey Mouse silhouette. The handles are the Mickey Mouse silhouette. Everything is Mickey Mouse everywhere. All the seats,
Oh my God.
they're the Mickey Mouse silhouette.
I also hear that like Disneyland in those parts of the world is an amazing experience.
It was sweet.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been to the Disneyland
Yeah.
here, so
I'm not a big theme park rides guy, but it was still fun.
yeah.
I had a good time. And the thing I did not expect when we got there was after you buy your ticket and go and you're fully committed, there's no backing out now unless you want to waste all your money. At the very end, when they're getting you through the lines to get you through the gates to get you in, they stop you, say, look in the camera. And they take a picture of you.
Like
and
Squid Game?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so now they have a picture of my face in their database, and they know who I am and my family and where to find me and how to kill me.
To that extent, that's what they told you at Disneyland.
I love China. No.
I love China. I'll say that. I like China and the Chinese people.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the extent. Don't ask me about politics, okay? Don't ask me about politics. I don't know anything about that. I have no idea. I just know that I like China and I like Winnie the Pooh. That's a good character.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Oh man.
I don't know anything about this. Shut up.
Yeah, it was sweet. Macau was a wild trip because apparently
Did you gamble while you were over there?
barely. I wish I had brushed up on poker so I could have played that.
You should have played Baccarat.
Yeah, that if
That's
I'd
the
known about
game
that,
to
but
play.
no, we just did slots and it sucked.
No.
Yeah, but it was
Slots always sucks.
Yeah.
If this could be, your synthesis of the episode,
yeah,
slots sucks.
Slots suck.
Don't
I already
play
knew that. Though.
slots.
I already knew that.
What are you, 80?
But yeah, that was a fun trip.
Yeah.
And we went to the Macallan bar. And
The
unfortunately,
Macallan Bar.
there is a Macallan bar. They have a bunch of other stuff there, but the big
There's a whole bunch of other stuff in this city, but the Macallan Bar.
yeah, the Macallan. No, in the Macallan bar, there's a whole bunch of other scotches and stuff like that.
yeah.
But
But there's also Macallan.
there's every Macallan. They have a big pedestal behind. I took a picture of it. That's like the Macallan 50 year or something. It's got like a.
Oh my god.
The bottle is so freaking cool. It's got like a diagonal slash at the top.
Yo.
It looks like it's been chopped off with a sword.
That's amazing.
It's so freaking sick. The Macallan tasting was unfortunately way too expensive. It was like, I want to say 2,000 Hong Kong, but that doesn't seem like a lot. No, that's a good amount, but I think it was more than that. It was like for 6 glasses of whiskey. For 6 glasses of Macallan. But
So
that's
you
Hong
can
Kong,
share.
which is like a couple hundred for each 1,000. It's something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else while you were there that like really stuck out to you?
Big Buddha.
Big Buddha.
I went to Big Buddha. I love
We
Big Buddha.
later researched this because I also saw some big Buddhas.
Oh,
and your
yeah?
Buddha was like slightly bigger than the one I saw.
Darn right it was.
Damn.
I got a bigger Buddha.
Japan. Okay, so still in your month off.
Yeah.
You go 2 weeks. You're in Hong Kong.
Yep.
Wonderful, crazy adventure.
Yeah.
Lots of pictures.
Yeah.
Really fun to watch. Really fun to follow your journey.
Yeah, I did a vlogger style.
Yeah, because yours was a lot more vlogger, a lot more personal. I was
Yeah.
like, man, should I make these more personal? I'm like hardly showing myself in any of these pictures. And then, yeah, we follow that journey, and then we're back in your month off. You still have 2 weeks off when you come back,
Yeah.
which is smart.
Yeah.
I should have done that. But
Well, I was thinking solely that my brother was getting married and my Australian family was coming to town. So I want to free myself entirely for that whole event.
Yeah.
And so I got to tour my Australian family around Vancouver, which was also touring me around Vancouver because I haven't seen a lot of Vancouver. I go to a
Yeah.
cafe, I go to my house, and I go to my job. And maybe I do some other things when people invite me. I go to my butcher because I like meat.
we don't need to hear your whole schedule. We're good. Yeah. Did you find that time to be relaxing or like really busying? And like, this is one of the funny
I
things.
think it was mostly relaxing.
Mostly relaxing.
Yeah. It was one of those things where being in a place for 2 weeks is a great period of time if you're not like to temporarily be in the same country, because there's that threshold where whatever it is, the joy of being in a new country and experiencing new things every single day gets really sucky.
An interesting point.
Yeah. It's like, how about I just have some normal Canadian food? How about I just go to a restaurant and there's already a napkin and a glass of water?
We got to come back to this.
Okay.
So your restaurant experience there is wildly different from my restaurant experiences in Japan, in that apparently waitstaff don't want to deal with you in Hong Kong.
Yeah, they don't get tips.
They don't. Yeah.
Well,
Do you think that's the reason
it's
why?
already included.
Right.
Yeah.
So the gratuity is already included,
Yeah.
which means they don't have to actually make you happy.
Yeah.
They just have
You're
to.
already going to spend it, and it's really nothing.
Their plan is to show up once at your table,
As little as possible.
as little as possible.
Yeah.
They got other
They're not going to
tables.
smile at you. There was
They have
one...
other tables to not wait on.
Yeah. There was one store where we were the only customers, and they made us pay as soon as we got our food because apparently they thought we looked like we couldn't pay, even though we were in the day before and paid for the food after we ate it.
Well,
Yeah. But they clearly didn't remember us. Even though I was a big white man with a big
don't
beard.
you understand? I took the picture at Disneyland.
Look, check the files.
I'm in.
Check your system.
I'm in.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience though. It's one of those things where I get very caught up in my own life and my own boxes that I live in, and it's hard to imagine a life outside of that. And so going to Hong Kong and seeing that other people live entirely different lives without having the same job that I rely on to
Yeah.
live, it is fine. Because sometimes I'm like, shoot, am I ever going to get another job? What if this one falls through? All those sorts of
Yeah.
panic things. How will I ever make money again? And then I'm like, oh yeah, there's an entire world of 8 billion people. Not all of them are making money. Some of them are having a terrible time, but...
But like, clearly there's other ways to live.
Yeah, I went to Hong Kong. I made friends pretty dang quickly. Granted, I had an in, but I find even here I can make friends pretty quickly without an in.
I think you and I had a similar realization on that point.
Yeah.
Which, again, we'll get to when I go to Japan. But so you do that,
Yeah.
which is really another thing I wanted to point out about this that is a big difference between your trip and my trip, is
Yeah.
that I have always wanted to go to Japan.
Yeah.
You heard about Hong Kong and we're like, yeah, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I thought the funniest thing is Fred was constantly hounding me for things I wanted to do there, and so he could plan. And I was like, listen, man, you're the one who knows Hong Kong. I don't know what there is there.
I have zero input.
Yeah, it's like, not only have I never ever in my life even thought of having a desire to go to Hong Kong,
I can't be bothered to Google it. Do you understand?
I was like, why would I bother? Because I'm not gonna get the wealth of information that he has.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the basic things, and I'm gonna say I don't want to do this or don't want to do that. And I said, how about you just plan everything because you want to plan everything.
So I want to move us along.
Yeah, let's do it.
You started off wanting to get this like emergency release valve from everyday
Yeah.
life. You've had this adventure in Hong Kong. You had time with the family and friends and stuff like that. Did you come out of it on the other side with? What did it feel like to go back to work after that?
That was surreal. It felt like I didn't belong there.
Damn.
It was literally like, I need to.
I went through the hero's journey.
Yeah, I was like, I need to get another job. I don't belong here anymore. I've been here too long. It was near just before my 5-year mark.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, I've been here too long. I've seen too many people come and go. They've lived without me for an entire month. Because that was people's worry there. It's like, what are we going to do? I, along with a couple of our coworkers, were like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot going on. The first couple weeks were probably rough, because we still had a lot going on. But beyond that, April was mostly empty. There was like a movie we were working on. So really, they didn't even need me a whole lot. But some people were kind of like, oh, shoot, what are we going to do?
Does that feeling of having changed and your outlook is different on it, like, does that carry over to now? Because that was back in, like, spring.
You mean the outlook of when I came back to work and
Yeah.
felt like I didn't belong?
Yeah.
Yeah, that faded after a few days to a week.
Oh, so things kind of got back to
Yeah,
normal.
it was more of I wasn't used to it at all, and they'd been there for a while, and I'd considered going to different jobs and things like that. But so when I got back, it's like realizing people could live another life and having a month without responsibility was pretty great. So when I came back, it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm doing back this work, I'm like, right, how do we do this? And remembering editorial and things like that.
Yeah. So we're going to come back to your work journey a bit on titles.
Yeah.
But I think we should step into, because this has been a significant portion, we should step into me being in Japan.
Yeah, let's go to you. Let's
Okay.
cut to you. So I fly out to Hong Kong. A couple days later, you fly out to Japan.
We have to backtrack a little bit for me, too, to be like,
let's
how
go.
did this happen? To preface, I have always been interested in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever since I was a little kid, I've always thought the culture was the coolest thing ever. I grew up around Chinese kids, and I grew up around, like, Asian kids all the time, so it's like, you know, it's not alien or foreign to me. My culture is very different that I come from.
Mm-hmm.
It's inconceivable to someone like my grandmother's that I am at all interested in this outside world. It's very different for a lot of people who are like, I go to church with in my community together. I've always wanted to. I'm very interested in it. I spend a ton of time reading the philosophy. A lot of time, you know, I've seen anime. I'm not really like a weeb in that sense. I hardly keep up with anime, really. I love Kurosawa films. Samurai history and all that stuff is really interesting to me. And Zen philosophy. I'm very into Zen philosophy. I'm like just kind of learning from it. There's a lot of things that I find are, like I said, very profound in it. And as I've been going on, I keep kicking myself. I'm like, when am I gonna do this? Right? I've always, it's something like, oh, it's on the vision board of someday I'll do this. Someday I will go to Japan. I always picture I'm gonna do it when I'm more accomplished and have a bunch of money and whatever. And then I was like, well, why don't I just do it now? And what actually spurred it was that I'm sitting at my computer and I look up what would be something cool to do in Japan. And I've been into F1 recently, and I'm pretty into it as like a sport and just like watching and keeping up with it. Not because of Drive to Survive, just because I started got interested in the engineering. Then I watched highlight reels of like the races, and then I started to pick up and like get interested in it. And then I went on and just went, okay, theoretically, if I was to buy a ticket to see one of these races, where would I go? Like, oh, they do a race in Japan. That would be a really cool trip to do. And I go online. The F1 website sells tickets, but I say that in air quotes because they sell packages that include you watching the race and getting a little tour and meet the drivers or whatever. If you want to buy a regular ticket to attend the event, for Suzuka, which is the town that they actually have the circuit in, you go to the circuit's website and you buy it from the circuit. And when I did, it came out to roughly $450 Canadian for the weekend. For those who aren't familiar, F1 isn't just like one race that they do. They have a day of just practice runs, where they do like one practice session, another practice session where you watch the cars go by and the drivers are sizing up the track and seeing what they need to do. They have another day that's another practice session, and then a qualifying to see what, basically placing you on the grid to see what place you're going to start in based on how fast you're able to go that weekend. And then the day after that is the actual Grand Prix, the race day. So I got a ticket for the whole weekend in a killer seat that is right on the, I'm right on like one of the most severe turns of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Enough so that you get to watch the drivers come up to the turn, slow down so you can actually see the car, make the turn, and then speed up again on the causeway.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you get like a really good look
And
at
not
each of the
just-
cars. Yeah, which is some of the seats. If you're on the straights, that's what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So I got a really good seat for that at Suzuka Circuit. I'm like, okay, so I jumped and I bought the ticket as soon as I could. And then came time to like, okay, I have this ticket. Now I actually have to put the rest of this trip together.
You gotta go to Japan.
I started learning a little bit about like the language a little bit. I didn't really get very far with the language because I just got busy with other things. I bought the ticket. That was the next big leap. The ticket was the most expensive thing I did in the entire trip. The plane ticket to go there and back, it cost me about $1,600 for my round trip, which it could be worse. It could be much worse. And the fact that I got it was amazing because I didn't have any layovers. So I just went there and back. I had to plan this trip very meticulously because Suzuka is a really small town. Accommodations get really expensive around the Grand Prix weekend. So the next best thing to do is to book accommodations in Nagoya, which is the closest city. It's a pretty big city. And then commute over.
Yeah.
I flew in and out of Osaka, so pretty much the night before my trip, I had jam-packed myself with so much stuff to do for work that I was up until like 3 a.m. working on Google Documents and packing. So I work on the document pack, work on the document pack, work on the document pack, until I got up and I was like, it's 3:30 and I'm eating a banana in the kitchen because I haven't eaten anything all day. I'm like, I need to go to bed because I'm leaving very early tomorrow morning to get to the airport. I'm in the airport, I send one last thing for work, and that's it. I unplug, I'm done. I go land in Osaka. I'm still not, I don't consider myself home free because I still have to go from Osaka to Nagoya, and that means like a couple trains. Get on the bullet train, get on another train, come out at Nagoya station. And I remember walking out. I'm a light packer and a smart packer, and I had everything in just one big backpack. And I step out, and I've got this big backpack over my shoulders, and I've stepped out of Nagoya station, which is, as train stations go, this one is pretty busy, and it was really easy to get turned around if you don't know where you're going. I step out of Nagoya station, I look around at the streets, and I'm like, it hit me there. I'm the furthest I've ever been from home. I am traveling alone. I don't know the language around me. I am wholly, completely reliant on Google Maps and ChatGPT and Translator and whatever else, right, to get me around. I get to my first hotel, was really interesting because it was like this spa hotel. It's a ryokan hotel, but it's like, if you've heard that word before, it generally implies there's a hot spring. It's an artificial hot spring and a capsule hotel in one. It is like a men's only resort. They give you like a little pajama set that you have to wear.
That's awesome.
You sleep in a capsule. You have your own little locker that's on a different floor.
Yeah.
And then there's the hot spring stuff over there. I got my mileage out of that hot spring. It was so nice, especially because I was hell-bent on walking everywhere. I walked a lot. I spent so much time on my feet, like walking around pretty much everywhere I went. And then also, when it came time to commute to the race days, there was so much standing because you're not going to get a seat on the train. You're going to have to stand in line for literally hours to get back on the train to go home after the track.
Oh my gosh.
And my seat from the track entrance was like a good 20-minute walk from the entrance at most. That's if things were moving quickly.
Yeah.
When it's jam-packed after a race day, you're moving way slower than that.
Oh my gosh.
Because you literally can't get through how thick the crowds are.
Yeah.
So I was super dead tired by the time I'd get back to the hotel every night, and then first thing I do is go to the hot spring. Soak, and just let all the soreness leave your body. But in general, I was like, the experience of being in a capsule hotel that was like that weird was, I didn't find it to be like that. Didn't feel hospitable. I think a lot of things about the trip in general would have been really different if I was with people.
Yeah.
Because there were parts where I really wish I had company. But again, there was a lot that I was able to do and a lot that I was able to see because I didn't take anyone with me. And that's also what made it kind of an adventure. That
solo trip.
There is nobody here to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Nobody here to rely on, that's for sure.
That was nice little interjection.
Yeah.
My day of the Big Buddha was a solo trip. My buddy Fred had a different friend to meet, and he was like, I'm just going to go meet up with this person. You can have your own day.
Yeah.
I was like, sweet. And yeah, that was amazing.
Because for you, it was a break.
Yeah.
For me, it was the whole thing.
Yeah.
For me, it was the whole thing. I'm not that sociable person to begin with. I did strike up conversations here or there. I met like one or two people, but like I never, it wasn't anything long term or anything like that. Right?
You didn't like meet up with them multiple times.
A lot of my communications with the Japanese people were in hand motions. And like the 5 words of Japanese I knew.
Yeah.
But they're such wonderful people that it's so easy to get around. I spent the first bit in Nagoya was actually very difficult because of that massive commute I was doing. But what I was doing was also making it extra difficulty for myself because I'd wake up early in the morning, go to the circuit, spend the day watching races. Then I'd get on a train. Instead of going back to Nagoya, I would go to somewhere else. I'd go check out. I'd try to use the evening to see something cool. One night I went to Ise to go see the Ise Grand Shrine, which is like really beautiful at the time I caught it because I was there just at sunset. And that was a wonderful time. And then the other time I kind of surprised myself. I tried going to Hakone Castle. Hakone is like this little town in the middle of the mountains. It's a bit more rural than a lot of the big cities. And the castle was closed. I unfortunately didn't get in there, but I got to walk the park. And it was just this absolute sense of bliss hit me when I was there. I was like, this is beautiful. I could just leave everything in life and just go live here. I get back to Nagoya, the race weekend finishes, Grand Prix is done. I grab all my stuff. Instead of going back to Nagoya, I kept it in a storage locker, get on the train, I go to Kyoto. I stayed in the Higashiyama neighborhood. As soon as I stepped out into that neighborhood and I'm walking to my Airbnb, dude, the wave of serenity of being in old town Kyoto hit me. I went to a diner that night and just like sat down, and the guy made me like a traditional Japanese like dinner. It was amazing. The food there, by the way, Japan has the most Michelin stars in the world. And not just that, they have more Michelin stars than the rest of the world combined. Because any cuisine you can name in the world, the best place it's done is in Japan. And it just goes to show that, like, when I went to the track to go watch the races, I went to a little truck to buy a little Wagyu thing to eat. And I had one bite of Wagyu and it melted like butter. And I was like, this little, truck food here beat every steak I've ever had in my life already. I was in Kyoto. I spent some time in Kyoto. The thing that got me the most in Japan was I realized the depth of my own introvertedness in that I would come across the most beautiful sights. Like I went to the rock garden. It was over there, and it was the perfect spring day. Like literally a breeze would come and cherry blossom leaves would float out over this crystalline lake, and it's just the most gorgeous scenery ever. And being alone there, like, lent it this touch of sadness in that way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was like I wish I was sharing this with somebody in that way. But all I could do is just take a picture. And move on.
Yeah.
So it helped me. There was a really interesting thing about there that I kind of learned. Japanese word for the concept of making space. Yutori.
Oh.
The concept of yutori is making space for something. It's making time for something. When you empty out your thoughts and your concerns in the moment, you allow yourself to appreciate the moment. So that moment, like for instance, when I'm at the track and I get this box of Wagyu and I'm watching Fernando Alonso go by in his F1 car, and he kind of like peels over because he's checking with his team on something, and I'm watching an F1 car and hearing, by the way, those engines are so loud. They're so loud in the sense that I got out of the train station and I could hear them doing their opening laps.
Oh my gosh.
Very loud. And I'm standing there and I'm watching the car go by and I'm eating the most delicious meat I've ever had in my life, and just having like made space for this moment to be itself. That was so rewarding. And that's what I kind of learned it for, is every time I felt myself being caught up in the tiredness or the journey or the complications or where am I going to go next, I take a moment and be like, I'm right here. This is the best part. I'm right here.
Yeah.
Kyoto was my absolute favorite place to be because the food was delicious. Like, I think I went to Osaka and had some better food. I went to Kobe and had dinner there, so like I can't say it's the best food objectively. But I can say the dining experiences that I had there, because I took my time and made space for that yutori, that was way better. And the other part to it too was like, the first day I was in Kyoto, the first full day, I walked out of Higashiyama, I'm just like, I have no plans. I'm just gonna walk and just see what I stumble onto.
That's awesome.
I saw the most tourist stuff there. I saw the most beautiful stuff there. It was the most fun I've had. I went and had the most delicious food. I had a freaking Wagyu steam bun. I had like ice cream in all different shapes and sizes. I went and saw like so many temples. I crossed like the most touristy part of Kyoto. I saw everything. I never would have been able to do that if I was with other people.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, is that like, it's an encumbrance to take people with you. But then the same thing keeps happening where I go see this beautiful thing, no one's there to share it. So it's like it's almost a poetry to the moment, really, but like it's still, I keep thinking about like that stuff would also be making space for people, making space to share it with people is another thing that I was like, okay, I learned about this as I was there.
Yeah.
I went to this little interlude, because the next big city I went to was Osaka. So this little fun interlude I had was that after I leave Kyoto, tearfully, this is a really beautiful city, I leave Kyoto and I go to Kobe. I get a steak dinner at Kobe, which was the best dining experience of my life. which again, sad for the fact that I had to do it alone. Because I think about the second best dining experiences. We go to Highs, we have amazing food, and you and I hanging out, right?
Going, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's like being able to share
throwing that back and forth.
how amazing it is. I go to this dinner in Kobe, it's better than Highs. Sorry, dare I say, it is better than Highs. It's the most amazing food I've had in quality.
Yeah.
The most amazing sake I ever had, ever. Again, I'm sitting there at this table alone. It's just me and the chef. And he doesn't really speak any English. Medium rare. Yes. Yeah. So, again, it was that moment. I went then to Arima, which is this little mountain town. I booked. That was my bougiest hotel booking. Because I booked a one-night stay in a very traditional hotel in Arima, and I got to stay in a place that had like the tatami mats. I picked the traditional option. It was like you sleep on the bedroll on the ground and all that. It was awesome, and they had a hot spring built in, so I went and hung out in the hot spring and just chilled. From there, I went to Osaka. Osaka, I stayed right next in an Airbnb, a really tiny, like weird, little cooped-up area that actually turned out to be quite spacious inside once you got up the weird stairs. But I was right next to Kuromon Market. And if you don't know what that is, it's like a bazaar, and it's a bazaar that's just for food. So I would walk out, go to Kuromon Market, and just walk down this long aisle of all these different foods to try. So many of which were like Wagyu or some kind of shrimp or some kind of scallop, and they have a lot of amazing seafood in Osaka. Osaka was mostly a foodie tour for me. That's when I went to the most ramen spots, the most food stuff. I go shopping a little bit, check out some things. There's wonderful markets, and then the city life, the casino things there, the tons of lights on the street everywhere. That's Osaka. I took one day trip. I went to Nara, the old temples. Again, beautiful place. Also deer everywhere, just deer constantly. They come up to you, they bow. They're really nice.
They bow.
That's
amazing,
dude. No, I go up to the deer, go up to me, and because they know if they bow, people will give them food, so they just go. I stopped and I bowed to the deer, and he's comes up to me, and then he nudges me. He's like, "Give me something to eat." I'm like, "I don't have any food."
He bowed.
Yeah, no, it's so funny.
Start doing that.
Do that to the deer here, they will run away. The deer here have no manners.
No, I'm gonna do that to people.
Just for
I'm gonna
food.
bow, and if they don't give me food, I start nudging them.
But yeah, I come back from. I spent my time in Osaka. I come back here. I remember being on the trains there all the time. Zero incidents. They're not the best trains. Some things are a little bit older. Everything is clean. That's one big thing about Japan. It's much cleaner. It's not like the stupidly clean where you can walk in your socks and nothing will get dirty.
Yeah.
It's very clean compared to here. There's no trash cans around. Because people don't litter over there. People don't make trash. If you buy something to eat, you're eating it where you bought it and throwing it away there.
Interesting.
You're not. It's weird to walk around and snack and drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's strange to them.
I want to cut in with the opposite, an interesting, similar observation to Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is also very clean, and there's no trash anywhere, there's no trash cans anywhere, but everybody is walking around with snacks and food. It's entirely common. There's 7-Elevens on every single corner. Every 3 buildings is a 7-Eleven.
Which is the same in Japan.
Yeah.
There's 7-Elevens everywhere and
crazy.
Lawson everywhere, right?
Yeah. But in Hong Kong, it's not that everybody's very clean and you're going to stand there and throw it in the trash. It's that the city has people whose jobs is to go and sweep things. And so the normal thing to do, apparently, is to just chuck your trash.
Because someone's going to come
It's gonna be gone soon.
That's so funny that they have that.
Yeah.
They have employment on that level, which would be a cool thing to have here.
Yeah.
Here it's I
didn't see them often. It's
some streets here, I'll see a McDonald's bag going like it's a tumbleweed.
Yeah.
Down your street.
It's far more common in Hong Kong to see some guy climbing bamboo than it is to see someone sweeping the streets.
Oh.
Yeah. And still the streets are clean.
I think it's just the people are clean in Japan. They're all so well behaved over there, and everybody naturally has an instinct to keep the place where they live clean, which I wish we had that more in Vancouver. We're I live here, let me let that homeless man just shit on the sidewalk. So I come back from Japan after my days in Osaka, and it was an adventure. As I get here, I'm like, oh my god, I'm finally home. And I just did the most crazy thing I've ever done in my life, which is go halfway across the world, the furthest I've ever been away from home, in a place nobody understands me. I don't speak the language, and just live there on my own for almost 2 weeks, just touring the country. Somehow, by the grace of God, I made it. And I get on a train from the airport to go to Surrey Central to get my ride and go home. And the first thing that happens is a homeless man steps on the train and starts yelling at people. And I'm like, this is the exact thing that never happened the whole time I'm here. The whole time I was over there, it's like everything was fine. People were packed up and lots going on, but there was never an incident.
The problem is you were going to Surrey Central.
The problem is going anywhere in this country. You understand? And I wish I'd taken off time after that to just kind of reboot, because it was like for you coming back to work was surreal. Me coming back to work was very surreal.
Yeah.
Because I was like...
At least I had an intro.
Yesterday I was in a different country.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? Yeah. So that happened.
Wild.
I found out I didn't really need that much sleep to operate, which was really interesting. I woke up really early in the morning just to do the Fushimi Inari Shrine, which for people who don't know, that's the one with 1,000 red gates that you gotta walk through.
Oh.
It's this whole little hike trek thing, and there's just tons and tons of gates and tons of gates.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to get up really early in the morning to do that without a ton of people being there, because there's always a ton of people there. And unfortunately, there was still a ton of people there at dawn.
Yeah.
So, but then the good part is I still had a whole day to just go walk around, check stuff out, which was, again, being in Kyoto, awesome place. It made me, and this is where I think we'll get to another thing, it made me think, I've had this plan in the back of my head since then, that I'd love to buy a place in Japan.
Oh, yes.
To have a place to retreat to.
Yeah.
And then it kind of leveled up my thoughts a little bit recently to be like, what if I just changed up my line of work entirely so that I could do something over there, or do something that is like a remote job and live there.
Yeah.
And recently I think I stumbled onto that job a little bit because I've started writing a book.
Ah.
Yeah. Do we step into this book thing? We've been going on for an hour.
Oh, it's only 7:13.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is almost an hour that we've been podcasting both.
It's fine for me. I mean, because we can just keep going and you can split it into sequels if you want.
No, we'll do a whole episode. I don't,
Sure. We both rambled a bit.
We had a lot to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just checking to make sure that we're following our thing. Okay. So, recently I started writing a book. To preface this, I have always been a writer. I've never been an author. An author, what's the difference? The difference is an author is published. An author is somebody who does writing for a living. I've always been a writer in the sense that I've been writing since I was in elementary school. Really, I've always wanted to write a book, write an idea. In high school, I tried to get serious about writing a book, but I never had a full, complete plot. I just really enjoyed world building and character building. So I wrote tens of thousands of words, easily over 200,000 words of books that will never be published because they were just incomplete ideas. It was just more of an exercise. And me and a buddy who was also trying to write a book, he would write a ton. And then I would read his stuff and he would read my stuff. And it was a great idea a great thing to keep us going. In university, I tried going for, when I was doing my English literature degree, I got really interested and had some ideas. I started writing again. Again, no complete idea. So I just bring up the thing and just start writing. It's really good for perfecting your craft, learning what you're doing, knowing how to write, forming your style in a sense, and figuring out what you're interested in writing, what you'll write best. But again, I had no complete plot. And some people will listen to this and be like, so what if you don't have a complete plot? Just write. And I agree with you. Just write. No matter what, just write, because at least you'll develop a little bit. But I never had something publishable because it was incomplete. Right? I never finished an idea, and I never had an idea that had an end in mind that I could finish. Then, earlier this year, I started playing. I've always been playing around with ChatGPT a ton since it got started. And one of the things that I love to do with ChatGPT to test its ability is kind of play little role-playing games with it. Kind of in the way, because you and I have always been into D&D. And when we play, to play with ChatGPT is to really test its ability because it's keeping track of a lot of things, and it's finding out how it does storytelling and how it follows rules.
Yeah.
I made this kind of superhero world to play in, and I got so into it that it kind of sparked a bit of an idea of how do I take the things I've learned playing this game and put them into a book. And then suddenly ideas started to come together, and now I'm writing Ultraphotonic, which is a wild, wacky name for my wild and wacky, well, not so wacky, superhero fiction book that I'm really excited about because it's the first big, full idea that I've had. I think it's a really good idea, too, and then I feel like I have something to say in it, and I'm actually saying it, and it's also the pinnacle of my work as a writer, because this is a synthesis of all of the writing skills that I've developed over this time. And not just writing skills, but storytelling skills. Because we've also been playing Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop games for like 10 years, and I've learned a ton of stuff about character and story from that too, right? And it's fun when you're doing that because you're like live testing your skills a little bit. Yeah. So I'm kind of doing that here. And something else that I was thinking about just earlier today is that I got stuck over a hump in my book, where like I got to a place where the plot was really difficult and kind of convoluted. And I'm like, this is making it, I'm having so much trouble trying to sit down and plot an outline. But then I just did what we would do, like what would I do if we were in this and playing a tabletop game, is that I would just stop planning and play a session. And when you play a session, your characters kind of just come up with the story on their own.
Yeah.
So instead of stopping to try to write a whole outline, I just wrote the next chapter. And I found that my characters figured out stuff in the story before I figured it out. But I'm really excited about it. I'm learning a lot about the self-publishing process, and that is one of the fun announcements I'll be making about the Forest Creek soon, is that kind of turn into a bit of a self-publishing house and to publish some stories, and it's going to be really fun. But that's going to be my first big project, is writing this book. And if it turns out well, I'd love to write more books. And if that turns out well, I'd love to become an author full-time. And if that turns out well, I'd love to move to Japan and be an author there. Because then I could write books for here, make enough money, and then go to Kurama Market and blow it all on food. But also because real estate there is pretty comparatively, like, opposite problem from from Hong Kong, where it's actually really cheap to buy there. And, you know, you can... An apartment here buys like a decent house there for a family. And the fact that it's in Japan, that you can Airbnb it out, and then, you know, friends are ever visiting, friends can go there. I can go there and just have like a summer home somewhere amazing. But yeah, that's me going to Japan. That's me writing a book. That was you going to Hong Kong. That was another thing that happened this year.
We can talk about the obvious one that's right next to us.
I was trying to not subtly glance to it.
You immediately looked right at it.
This is an audio medium.
Yeah. For all the people listening who can't see, which is everyone listening, I broke my ankle, and I'm currently wearing an air cast, which I found out is the name for those casts that are just Velcroed on the big boots, called air casts.
Huh.
I found that out, and they're great. I love them. They're much better than plaster casts.
Yeah, the
I've
plaster
never had a
cast.
plaster cast, and I never want one.
I just hear like tons of terrible stories about people trying to scratch themselves by sticking things in there, and then those things breaking off, and I'm just like, so that's gonna be like 2 months before you get that
And that
pencil
was
out
a
of there,
community episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I was on my longboard. I fell off my longboard, and then in slow motion heard my bone cracking.
What's this experience like of breaking a bone? Because I've never broken a bone. Clearly, was there a lot of pain? Like, did you know immediately that you broke it?
No, I was surprised. 50-50. I knew it wasn't good,
Yeah.
but I was still had hope that it was just a really bad sprain. But the more it cracked, the more I was like, it's bad, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And it was like, it hurt, but it hurt like a sprain does.
Did you go to a hospital like right away?
Yeah, immediately. Because I was like, a few years ago...
Did you drive to the hospital?
No, I Ubered.
Ah.
Yeah, I got really lucky because I bailed in the middle of the alleyway, which cars come down all the time.
Yeah.
And I was holding like 3 bags. So my frozen meat pies had gone everywhere, and my leather briefcase was on the ground. And my neighbor happened to see me, and he yelled, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know." Because which I have found means no, but I really want to be. And so he helped me to my
I just want to
door.
like help the audience's picture here. You were carrying groceries and a leather briefcase on a longboard trying to get from your car to your house.
Riding switch, which is
Riding
my
switch.
non-dominant foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
goofy.
which is normal to me. Not normal foot. That was a normal thing that I did. I would carry a lot of bags, and I would longboard on my off foot.
To try to get better on that side.
Yeah, to try and get more used to it. Because I'm like 100% used to my left and like 70% used to my right. And so I just try and up that comfortability.
Now that happened to you how long ago?
That was August 18th or 19th. So just over a month.
Just over a month.
Yeah.
That month has been filled with all kinds of complications, I imagine.
Yeah, you get used to it, but the most immediate thing, well, I think let's just go through the way it is in that it's like I got crutches.
Yeah.
And I got told it's non-surgical and I've just got to keep it in this boot and not put any pressure on it at all.
Yeah.
For 3 months. So I'm in crutches until December, basically. That has been interesting in that it was rough the first couple weeks because it also hurt a lot. It didn't hurt so much. People were very surprised that I wasn't taking any painkillers. Like, that's how little it hurt. But movements and jostling hurt a lot. And there's 5 things of Velcro on this. I have to wash it twice a day, doctor's orders. Have to wash my leg twice a day. And so every morning and every night I have a bath. And that involves taking off all 5 Velcros. And I found really quickly, if I try and take off a Velcro, my leg would twist and it would hurt a lot. So I had to learn to gingerly pull it up, pull each Velcro up diagonally, so that I didn't twist my foot, but I was still taking off. And it was like a 15-minute process to just get out of my boot and clothes so that I could get in the bath.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Not to mention that a bath to begin with is kind of time consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's better than not being able to take a bath with a plaster cast.
And then that level of difficulty just applied to everything else you had to do.
Yeah, and especially because I'd never done this before.
Yeah.
I'd never had to do this, but I would practice doing things on one foot. Over my life, it's funny that I've practiced various disabilities. It's like, what if I had to do this with one hand? What if I had to do this with one leg? What if I had to do this blind? All those sorts of things. So I'll close my eyes while I'm walking down the street arbitrarily, and then I'll open them fairly quickly. But
It's gonna be like, what's it like to be blind?
yeah, it's this is awful. But then it's like I would do stuff balancing on one foot, or I just liked training balance in general. I was in karate when I was a kid. And so I trained with general disabilities, and I was very focused on balance and range of motion and keeping those dynamics just in general life and like stretching and things like that.
Yeah.
I was a fan of keeping my body mobile and being able to do things without all of my body. And so it wasn't a massive adjustment to me to do everything on one leg because I was used to balancing on one leg. And it's funny enough that the balance I have is from longboarding. I learned very quickly in longboarding that... Oh, did I get it? I did.
You caught
I'm
a fly.
amazing. I just caught a fly.
Ninja master.
My first week or two was figuring out how to not overcompensate in certain parts of my body. So one day my left knee started hurting because it was my right ankle I'd broken. And that was bad because I don't want the parts I rely on to die.
You only got one leg left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had realized it was the way I was twisting when I was turning to do something. I was twisting my entire body, including my leg. And so, but my foot would stay planted. And so now I'm slightly twisting my knee unnaturally.
Oh.
And so what I've learned to do is twist just my torso, keep both of my legs facing the way they were, and then like lift myself with my crutches, and now I can twist my lower body. I'm moving like an action figure.
Yeah.
So that has saved my knee, but then it's a mix of that, like feeling those pains and then adjusting, along with just getting stronger in all of those areas. So like my right leg is stronger at lifting up my foot with the boot on it. Before it was brutal because I was not used to doing that.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it all the time. And I would figure out, okay, I'm not this strong, so I'm getting tired really fast, which means I need to stop trying to do things and I need to just sit down. I would just have to sit down and rest because I'm not that strong.
Yeah.
My core's gotten
You're
way
kind of
better.
in the gym every day now.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Because I have to lift my legs forward, and that takes core. And then in the first week, I went to the mall to grab more of these cargo pants that I happened to buy a couple weeks before, which are amazing for this situation because they have more pockets that are whatever. But yeah, I had to go to the mall. And I was with my mom, but I realized, wow, this is a lot of frickin' movement, and it's just crunch, crunch, crunch. Like, I'm doing crunches with my abs. Every single step is crunching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. And it was like peak mall time, so every single seat is taken. So there's nowhere to sit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it's like I only found a place to sit on the way back from getting pants.
Which is kind of like you'd think somebody with crutches is coming around. You give
I'm
that person
sure
a seat.
somebody would have moved,
Yeah.
but I wasn't going to be like, hey, move. I need to sit.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, and now I would. I'm so used to this that I'd be like, listen, please stand. I'm sorry, I'm dying. Move out of the way.
You're dying? That could be a lot of things.
Yeah, and so it's been a big adjustment than that one. Most of the dishes I have watched that have been washed in my house have been washed by my friends, which has been pleasant.
Yeah, you're not getting that from me. I'm sorry.
I figured it out. Mindset. Because one thing I'd been thinking about a while back was the stoic thing of like, you don't know how much time you have. Today could be the last day you have on Earth. You might die in your sleep tonight. You don't know if
Memento
you're gonna-
mori.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so
Remember, you will die.
it's hard to think that drastically. Yeah, I learned a very minimal bit of that you can practice every day, which is I would be like, I'm gonna do those dishes later. I'm gonna clean that later. That week, I was going to spend the whole week cleaning all the things that I had let pile up for months. And now I could not clean them.
Right.
I could not clean my dishes. I didn't know how I could do that. I tried to theorize a bunch of ways, and it took me an entire week to finally theorize and figure out with a solution to how I could wash the dishes in one go.
It was an engineering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everything constantly was. When I first had to put on a sock because they didn't have them at the hospital.
Oh,
and
no.
So they said, your most important job is to go out and buy tube socks. I was like, how the heck am I going to go out and buy
Yeah.
anything at all?
Yeah.
It's my right foot, I can't drive. And so I got a friend who bought me some socks, and it took me three different methods and 3 tries to get a sock on
Oh my
the
god.
first time. And it took me 5 whole minutes to put a sock on. I was surprised it took that short, and I was exasperated. I was like, because part of it was getting over the mental block of how the heck am I going to put a sock on when the slightest titch to the right or left goes, oh! And part of it is just suck it up. It's gonna happen.
It's interesting that you were right on the edge of. It's really bad that you wish you had painkillers, but not as bad as you need painkillers.
No, because for me, there was no constant pain.
Yeah.
It was when things happened that hit it or twisted it wrong, it would hurt for a second.
And doctors need to hear that it's constant. They just love the word chronic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one morning where it was brutal because it didn't normally if it was just hurting, I could lift it, elevate it, I could change the position it was in, and it would go away within a few seconds. But that morning, it was like in the first week, it didn't matter what I did. It was like, I realized after a few different positions, I was like, I'm just in pain.
But it's very interesting to kind of hear the idea that something like this could happen to you, and your life is not over.
Yeah.
You still have to continue doing things.
Yes. It was because I'd accepted it pretty quickly. But
There's a lot of different types of trauma in life.
yeah.
Breaking your leg off a longboard is a type of trauma.
What's interesting is I accepted it instantly that I had a broken ankle. The tough part that first week was accepting that for a long time I'm going to be in crutches.
A whole season of life.
That was the hardest part because when I think about having a broken ankle, it's like, okay, I have a broken ankle. It's going to be harder to do things. But it's not just going to be harder to do things. I'm in crutches for 3 months, which means I need people to help me constantly.
Yeah.
Not all the time, I'm self-sufficient to a degree, but I can't drive, so I can't, and I have nothing within walking distance of me, especially not within crutching distance. It's a 10-minute regular walk to any sort of store or shop. I cannot make that, even after all these weeks. It's like, that's not happening. especially because of how hilly it is. There's a bunch of downhill, which means there's a bunch of uphill.
Oh, yeah.
And uphill, I'm coming back with everything in bags.
We were coming back from some store and there was someone uphill, and you were like really getting up there.
Oh yeah, man, because now it's not just a crunch, that's a sit-up.
Yeah.
Every step is a full sit-up now.
Which you're gonna just have the most amazing abs.
Yeah,
between
hopefully
here and there,
if I stop drinking beer, maybe you'll see them.
Which, I mean, being on crutches, you got a lot of drinking beer ability.
It's pretty easy. But the two biggest things I learned pretty quickly that I've also thrown away pretty quickly are that it might be the last time you're able to do this thing that you're about to put off. So it's like the other thing I've done is reading the Bible, because in my ideal world, I will do that every day.
Yeah.
But also just reading anything, because I like reading a lot. And it's like, oh, I'll read that tomorrow. What if I go blind for some reason? I'm never going to read those pages. I was like, I'll read those tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, you won't. You have eyes right now. You have a nose right now.
Well,
you have
I think
legs right now.
A really practical version is you just went, I'm gonna clean my house this week.
Yeah.
And then this happened to you.
And days before, I was like, yeah, I'll clean my house next week. Yeah.
So it's like do the
maybe
thing
you
now.
won't.
Which kind of comes back to your year of doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe don't put it off. Maybe
Yeah.
do the thing.
Do the thing.
Yeah. It's like, even as much as it sucks to do 2 dishes, do 2 dishes. Do 10 dishes.
I have not been. I'm on a different physical journey at the moment, because I was like, I've been telling myself I need to lose weight since the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And then by mid-year, I somehow got fatter. Actually, being in Japan was the most surprising thing. I think it's because A, I was doing a ton of walking, but
Yeah.
B, their food there is so clean that it like, if I go eat marginally the same amount of food that I ate here, I would
Yeah.
feel massively bloated and quite sick. There, the food is so clean that I could normally I struggle with fried chicken. Over there, not a single problem. I was totally fine. And I came back the same weight, because despite the rigorous amounts of feasting I was doing, I was walking a ton and the food was really clean. But then when I came back, the problem is the habit I was in was feasting. And it took me a while to wean off of that, and by the time I did, I had gained even more weight. And things were getting worse. In fact, I think they were at their absolute worst shortly after there was a corporate restructure at my job, and I was leaving my place of work, and we went to go celebrate at Highs.
Oh my goodness.
Yet another night of feasting. And that was the heaviest I'd ever been. So I'm like, I need to really take this weight loss journey into consideration. Before that, I had started going into the gym. I leveled up and I've been going to the gym at least 4 times a week.
Yeah, freaking awesome.
Like tons and tons and tons of times. But that alone doesn't change things. Actually, what I was finding is that it was really helping me maintain weight and not lose and not gain more. And part of that is you are losing weight because you're burning a lot more calories and getting into a deficit.
Yeah.
But then you're also putting on muscle, so that's making up some of the weight that you lost.
It's like, I think the common thing I've seen is people are like, oh, turn that fat into muscle, and then people go, actually, it doesn't transmogrify into muscle. You lose the fat, and it's like you're losing fat and gaining muscle.
Yeah. At the same time. So, turning the fat into muscle. Shut up, nerd.
I do transmogrify.
So, to backtrack, way back during COVID, while everyone else was suffering from a disease, I was going on keto.
Yeah.
And I had dropped a drastic amount of weight doing keto, but I wasn't really working out. I was going on long walks, but not really working out and just doing a ton of keto.
Yeah.
And I lost a ton of weight quite quickly. It was a really interesting dietary change for me to just be on a completely different track. And I kept the weight off for quite a while until I started the same job that I lost, funny enough. And when I started that job, I was in a rough mode where I was commuting. I did not give myself enough time to make lunch, and I was eating out a lot. And then I got into a really bad habit of just constantly ordering food everywhere I went, to the point where I gained a lot of the weight back. I then decided to do a year of fitness around the age of turning 25. I was hiking a ton. I went up mountains, and then I started doing kettlebell, a ton of kettlebell. And I lost weight, a ton of weight again, because I was in a massive calorie deficit where I would basically fast throughout the days, a ton, and then lift weights a ton. like a giant kettlebell, just constantly throwing it around until I lost weight, and I gained a lot of muscle. So now I had a way that I had lost weight with a diet and a way that I had gained muscle and lost a ton of weight just exercising. This time around I'm doing both. So I'm going to the gym a ton, but I'm also doing keto. I do a very strict version of keto because I know that if I try to walk a fine line, I will mess it up. Which has also happened before. So in keto, if you want to stay in ketosis is a form of a state of your diet where your body is burning fat. Normally, because you eat sugars, your body gets jolts of sugar and it focuses on sugar, and it takes a while for it to burn that sugar and energy. And in the meantime, while it's burning that sugar and energy, anything you eat on top of that is being stored away in fat, right? Which is where the carbohydrates come and store up. So it's you got so many carbohydrates to burn that you are storing more fat because that's like residual fuel, like extra fuel. It's a reservoir somewhere. So if you want to burn that fat, you get into ketosis, which is almost like, I don't want to say starvation, because I would actually think that, if you're thinking about prehistoric humans, this is the way the diet should be, in some sense. You're not supposed to be constantly getting a Twix bar and then that will be like your fuel. There is no Twix bar in the wilderness. So when you're in ketosis, you limit to, say, depending on your size and weight, there's like a threshold of X amount of carbs. Something around 20 grams. Probably less. I do, and you're not supposed to have sugar, I do close to 0 carbs and 0 sugar. So like I'm even more strict on that. Most of like meat, cheese, not dairy, because a lot of dairy, like a lot of milk, they would put sugar in it. But vegetables, none of that. No fruit, because fruit to me is like too much sugar to cross the line. It's so that when I do mess up, I'm okay. Like I can drink this White Claw because a White Claw has like very minuscule amount of sugar in it that won't throw me out of keto. And then sugar alcohols is something that you can sweeten food with, and sweeten drinks with, without throwing yourself out of ketosis, because when you're in ketosis, you metabolize sugar alcohol differently. I can drink straight whiskey, but I can't drink a cocktail because a cocktail will have other sugary things in it. Yeah. So doing that and working out has been, it's interesting because I'll come back now to your just do things. If I had just done this earlier, I could have been in it.
Yeah.
Because keto, you're going to have a really rough 48 hours when you start. Because you have no idea how dependent you are on sugar, how much your body just wants to bite things when you start becoming sugar deprived, and like your senses heightened for the first week where you could smell a Kit Kat being opened across the room. I'm not kidding. I can do that now. It's like a hyper sense.
Yeah.
You smell everything. My family went to Whistler. They made me drive them. My mom and my sister made me drive them to Whistler to be with family for a day. And all they wanted to do over there was eat. They just kept going around to different bakeries and stuff. And every time we went there, I could smell every individual type of muffin. It was like lemon poppy seed. Just a ton of different smells and stuff. And it was really tempting. And at the same time, you're getting keto flu. So you start to feel like
that sucks.
You feel like you're almost getting sick.
Yeah.
And you get migraines and you get really tired. And your whole blood sugar goes low because your body is used to getting sugar on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, now you're in the fat burning. I have been dropping 1/2 to 2 pounds every day, which is quite quickly. And then I have, like, I never get bloated because it's the carbohydrates that really make you feel bloated and stuff. And I can, like, you can eat a ton of vegetables without feeling bad. And you can eat a ton of, like, when you're in ketosis, you can eat a ton of steak or bacon or whatever this stuff is. Like, I eat a ton of bacon. And I never feel bloated, and I'm still burning weight, and I feel great. Like, there's no energy problems with me right now. I never feel like that weird after lunch tired sleepiness or anything like that. There's no tryptophan in me right now or whatever. So that's been a really interesting weight loss journey, and I come back to your thing, which is I should have just done this. I should just do the thing, take the leap, because once you get over this 48-hour hump, it's going to get way easier. And to be honest, you're not going to miss that stuff that much.
Yeah.
We were just at an engagement party. I'll be honest, there were times when I walked by that table and I'm like, there's a brownie there. I would have loved Like, there's some childish instinct in me that's like, go for the brownie because this is the mother lode. This is the treasure that you're not going to get at home or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like my family, we couldn't keep sweets around because we will devour the sweets. So we must like keep them away.
Yeah.
But then that only enforces you to go for it when you do get the chance.
Ah, yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of that. But like also finding, oh, I can just be disciplined and not have that thing.
Yeah.
And like I've said about fast food a number of times before, it's not even that good. You can live your life without that thing. Dude, not being bloated.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
not even that
that's huge.
far down into the weight goal.
Yeah.
Not being bloated is a huge help. I was literally
that was
physically sick.
The biggest thing 3 or so years ago when I hypnotized myself into giving up bread and ice cream. Because I literally chanted to myself in my bed, there is no bread and ice cream.
There is no Bossic Say.
Yeah.
There's no war in Bossic Say. There is no bread war.
Yeah, and it's like I did that, and that was the first time I realized I was bloated before, because I had never not been bloated. And I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. The fact that I'm not fighting my clothes every time I put them on is already a huge win.
Yeah.
But I'm still quite a long way from the weight goal, so I'm still, in the mode of I'm working out, keeping up the diet, and just push along and see how far I can get. So that's a big thing on the physical transforming is, and I think you and I hit something similar there, where we're discovering our ability to persevere through something. You, in your case with your leg, you're finding out just how much you can adapt to life. And
I think the funniest thing, the day after I broke my leg on a Monday, my ankle on a Monday night, so I had to go to work in the morning, but I took that day off, obviously. And that was the cleanest my house had been in months. The first full day of having a broken ankle, because I had suddenly an influx of people who wanted to come to my house. But also, the biggest thing being, since I had crap everywhere, I was now living in a death trap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was not just cleaning because I should have a clean apartment. It was cleaning because if I don't clean, I'm going to fall and break my ankle worse.
Oh, break your other ankle.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's like, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's like, I just had 2 sets of 20-pound... I had a set of 20-pound dumbbells just lying on my kitchen floor.
That is not the way to go, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, we both learned and are learning how far you can go when you actually just do the thing.
Yeah.
I have had this multi-headed monster on my to-do list, which is I need to work on my church's social media, which is St. George. We'll talk about that more later. The websites that I need to make, and like job applications and all this other stuff that I need to do. And my biggest problem is that they remain a multi-headed monster because I have not gone to the work of actually cutting off one of the heads.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like when you set your mind to do the thing,
Yeah.
you get a long way. I think that was a really good resolution for you. And for me, it turns out. And probably for everybody. In fact, you could almost say that every version of every resolution is to do a thing.
That's true.
Unless it's to not do a
The
thing.
ultimate resolution is to do things.
The second best resolution is to not do a thing. In which case, mine is not eating sugar.
Whoa.
But it's like, we have some bigger lessons that we learned on today.
I like the lesson. For every do, there is a don't.
Which is a really good one. Someone should write that down. Put that on a t-shirt. One of the big lessons that we learned this year, I have one written down here for you, is titles. Do you want to tell us about what
Oh
it is?
yeah. So we were talking about, I think we'll go back. Oh, I'm gonna reach all the way back into this podcast and grab your segue that you gave me earlier, which was, you said you're a writer, not an author.
Yeah.
And I am an editor, not a colorist. And yet I have colored many movies, and my credit on all of those is colorist. One of those movies has my credit twice as both online editor and colorist.
So, apparently editing movies isn't me editing movies with Premiere Pro.
No,
It's...
specifically to everybody out there, to confuse you, I'm an online editor.
Yeah.
Which is, the movie is already edited. There's no actual cuts being made.
I used to be really confused when you would explain your job to me because it just sounded like you got paid to watch Hallmark movies.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we mostly work on Hallmark movies. But whatever movie we're working on, we've got to watch eventually. And we watch it like 7 times.
broke down.
Yeah, it depends on the level of QC we have to do and how many outputs we're making.
Quality checking.
Yeah. So when I started the job, I saw the color board and wanted to become a colorist and made that quite known. It's like, that looks cool, I would like to do that. And slowly over the years, it's been training and learning and doing that. And now it's gotten to a point where I'm actually given a movie and I just color it, and then it goes out, producers make notes, I change those, I work with the DP, and then it goes to air on TV with all of my colors on.
Sounds like the things that you would do encompassing the role of colorist.
That is indeed what a colorist does.
Yes.
And thus I have come to the realization, it's been a fight for me over the year, that I was constantly telling people I'm not a colorist, I'm an editor, and I happen to be coloring movies as well. I'm still training or whatever, even though nobody was guiding me. I was taking a little bit of guidance, and I was Googling stuff and going on YouTube and watching tutorials.
You're more or less the modern version of Technicolor.
One super common thing is cameras record blue incorrectly. So when you look at the sky, it's blue. It's kind of a deep blue, and it might even look... It doesn't actually look purple, but cameras, at least the ones I work with, which are like Red cameras, Sony cameras, a very common thing is that they actually tilt, when they record the blue, it's very deep blue, essentially registers as purple. So I've seen things on TV where the sky and the mountains in the background are purple, not blue, but it's so close to a deep blue that you don't think about it because it looks like it. But one common correction I make all the time is I take that blue hue and I put it right between blue and cyan. Because actually putting it on the blue square looks like purple. And so I pop it down a little closer to cyan, and now that's a sky blue.
One thing that you brought to my attention when we first started working on videos together while you're at this professional scale is something about like whites can be blown out.
Oh yeah. So it's recovering detail is a big thing, and so cameras, high-tech cameras with like big dynamic ranges, because dynamic range means it's essentially the range from black to white that this camera can capture. And so having a camera with low dynamic range sucks when you're shooting outside, because you can't have the shadow under that bush contain detail while also having the clouds in the background contain detail. When you have low dynamic range, it's either or. You're either changing it to so you get cloud detail and all of your blacks will go away, or you do the opposite. Whereas these cameras, Reds, high-level Sonys, things like that, they have a very high dynamic range, and so they can shoot stuff outside, and you know, they're professional lighting and flags and diffusion and stuff like that they're doing off screen.
Yeah.
But regardless, at the end of the day, they're capturing the clouds that are lit by the sun and the shadows underneath the bush. And all of that detail from there and in between is being captured. It's my job to retain that detail and not... Because I'm also messing with contrast.
Yeah.
Contrast, hue, saturation, all of those sorts of things.
I want to bring us back to titles. So this whole time you've been a colorist.
Yeah.
And calling yourself an editor.
Yeah.
But you've also been an editor.
Yeah.
Who colors movies.
Correct.
So what's this whole thing about titles?
It doesn't matter.
They don't matter.
I'm doing what I'm doing. So one thing is actually a quote from a painter, my mentor, I guess I could say, the guy who taught me color. He would quote this one painter who, she said, "I paint my time." And so he would say, yeah, I color my time. And so it's the time I'm experiencing right now, I am coloring. So I'm coloring during this time. It doesn't matter what my name is, it doesn't matter what my title is, I am coloring at this time. I'm editing at that time, I'm reading a book, I'm running book club, I'm talking with parents, I'm talking with friends. It's like, I'm a friend, I'm a son, I'm an editor, I'm a colorist, I'm a book club leader. I'm all of those things.
Man is what he does.
Yeah. Only one of them has an official title written on paper.
Yeah.
I guess maybe two if you count a birth certificate. But
well, it's like when you're putting your resume together, you want these big titles to stick out.
Yeah.
Because an employer is going to look at these titles, and based on how big they are, it's what they're going to judge how important you were to this thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But even at this place, it's like, am I an editor or am I a colorist? Well, I'm both. Only one of those is officially on my contract. which I would work to change to get the other one. But even once I get the promotion and my title says colorist, that doesn't mean I'm not an online editor.
There's this one of our older episodes. I'm not sure if I've left it up, but I kind of went over. You know, in the corporate world, you have different kind of titles that are up the chain, and like, what do they mean, right? So, like, when you start at the very bottom, intern, if you're working for free or working just as a co-op or something like that, then you move up from there and you're an assistant, which usually means you're assigned to a manager or something like that, right? So you're an assistant. A level up from an assistant is usually like a coordinator. Then you get a level up from there, you get into manager. And manager doesn't always imply that you're managing people or that you even manage a department. It's usually just you manage a thing, right? You manage a task. So if you're an assistant, you might assist the manager, but you work with coordinators. Coordinators usually take notes from the manager, who would be their supervisor. You get a level up from that, you get into director. So somebody might direct, again, this is where you get into directing people, because your job is to direct people who work on the thing. So managers would take cues from you. Then you get up from there, you go from director, you go to head. So the head of a whole department, and the head is helping deal with the directors, and the directors are telling the managers what they need to work on. The managers are telling their assistants what they need to do, and the coordinators are supporting them. So now you have like this whole structure and rank and thing. It feels like a ladder that you're climbing. You get from there, then you get into the executive directors. You get into the executive leader. You get into the lead positions. So they'll start putting that. And I forgot one other thing, is that right between manager and coordinator is somewhere they start putting senior in front of things. And then you'll start noticing that in other areas. They'll put senior manager, senior director, senior lead, which is not usually that one. But when you get into there, then if it's like a corporation, something broad, you'll have president, which is usually the person at the very top of the company, vice president, senior vice president. So you get into this area, and then a very, very pinnacle top is the chiefs, the C-suite, chief executive something. The top of them, of course, being the chief executive officer, who is like the top of the top of the top. But what's really funny is that when you get up to this top of the top of the top, that person, CEO, if it's a public company, their job is held there by a board. And the people who sit on the board don't even work at the company. they just make decisions for the shareholders. That's who they're elected to put in. Right? So you get caught up in titles because your title is trying to determine how far you are up this chain. But the other thing people don't mention to you is that these titles are all made up. Of course they're made up. Of course they are. Made up. Because we need somebody to do this job. We need to call them something that makes the job.
It's essentially the idea, it's a clear outline of what you are expected to be able to do.
I need somebody to clean. I hire a cleaner.
You don't hire a
executive of sanitation.
There you go.
I might call
that'd be pretty cool.
I would call it that if I'm trying to attract somebody who has managed a lot of cleaning and directed it and led it, you know? Very senior cleaner, you know? Senior executive of cleaning. You get pretty high up the chain. The titles get fancier. I used to care a lot at my old job about, can I put a senior in front of my copywriter title? Because at least it would tell people that I've done this for a while and that I've handled big projects and stuff like that. I still wish I believe, have done that, because I had started and stayed on with the company for a long time. But like, from their perspective, but my whole lifetime at that company was 3.5 years, which is a lot to me because I'm on the younger side. To them, it was nothing. They've been realtors for 10, 15 years. They don't care that I was here for 3.5. It's like, it's a speck. It's like they're Omni-Man looking at my life on Earth, being like, that's it. And I talked to my dad about it. He meets a lot of people. He works in the mining industry. He meets a lot of people in these like corporations and these big companies, always trying to, you know, manage and improve something. And you stumble across people who care a lot about titles there. And they'll care about them more than they care about their salaries. But why should you care about your title if you're intending to keep your job at the same place? Because your title is not reflective of, you know, it's not always reflective of your salary. It's not always really reflective of your position. It's like, it holds a lot more weight when, instead of going, we need to take this to our department head, they say, we need to take this to Kathy. You know? So the title can be a bit of a mislead.
The title is, I think a title is a tool. That's far greater of use in a large company that needs that hierarchy and structure. I
Yeah.
work in a company of maybe 11 people.
When we started up the Forest Creek and went to like turn it into a business so we could
Yeah.
service a client, my goal with the titles was to be as vague as possible, so that I could give you more things to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I called, like you and Andres, I called you production directors.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it does sound like you're in charge of the thing because you are.
Yeah.
But then
But
a
I'm
lot
also
of
the camera operator.
a lot of things can fit under the word production, and I
Yeah.
can say you're in charge of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called myself executive producer because I was making the executive decisions and producing the thing.
Yeah.
That didn't mean I individually had my hands on every bit of the process. I kind of did, but I also didn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think when it comes to... It's essentially a legal tool, I think, at the end of the day, because it's an outlined definition of what you should be doing at any given moment in your job. Whereas, kind of, in order to get an upgrade, what's it called?
Promotion?
Promotion.
Yeah.
I completely lost the word that I said 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But in order to get a promotion, you kind of have to go outside of those bounds and start doing the things in the job that you want.
Yeah.
Because my title is not colorist, but I started coloring and I said I want to be a colorist, and I started training for color, and I said I want to use that board. So in my mind, what I did when I was an editor, every now and then I would have to go to the color station and do something on their station. I would use the buttons on the board whenever I could, because it's like I'd have to add a node in DaVinci Resolve. Well, I'm not coloring, but I'm learning where the add node buttons are. There's 3 different button combos in where to add a node.
We didn't get that technical, do we?
I know, but
Yeah.
it's like I was learning how to use the board when
Yeah.
I was an editor. And then I would take color lessons, I would look up how to color things and all of this stuff. And now I'm coloring without the title. So it's like, and now I'm in a position where I can pop into the boss and say, look, I'm the one coloring the movies. You're the one giving me the movies. Now let's just bridge that gap and call me a colorist.
Who do we talk to about color? Do we have a colorist? We have Jarrod.
Yeah.
We go to Jarrod. What's your current job title?
Online editor.
Online editor.
Yeah.
I think-
Is like my IMDb is my resume.
I think what we get caught up in is it's an organizational tool, it's a legal tool, it's something that helps us determine what people's roles are. We need to put something on the page when we're trying to hire,
Yeah.
but we get caught up because we think it's a status thing. And to some people, it is a status thing. If I tell you I was a head of content versus a content strategist, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of difference. Even though I literally applied for both those things and
Yeah.
heard back from employers and interviewed for them. The qualifications read exactly the same way, but that one is a head of content.
Yeah.
My last job was content strategist and copywriter. There was an ampersand in there because they wanted somebody technically to work on the copywriting. They also needed a content strategist so I could be a little bit more general and auxiliary with things. And things didn't really start to change for me. I didn't really get to start doing marketing until I was doing my copywriting job, which I could have easily just been human chat GPT to this company for a long time. But I started to go get more involved in content. How can I start playing a role into how this is devised earlier up the chain? Because what I was finding is that if I stay a copywriter, people are going to make decisions that aren't reflected well up the chain, and by the time it gets down to me, it's a way worse problem to deal with.
Yeah.
So I started to get myself involved more and more and more further up the chain, even though I'm just a copywriter. I would lean into the content strategist side of my thing. But I think that's a really important lesson from both those things is whatever you want to do, start doing it. Again, do the thing.
Do it.
Do the thing in your professional job. Go seek after the thing you actually
Yeah.
want to do for this company.
Whenever I've talked to anybody about how to get better at something, they say do that thing.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I asked my editing teacher, the actual like editing a picture, not online editing.
Yeah.
I said, how do I get better at editing? And it was adjacent, but he said, watch more movies.
Yeah.
I never watched movies. I'm not a movie watcher. I'm not a big
It's
movie
really
guy.
funny how many movies you haven't watched for
Yeah,
someone who
it's
works in film.
hilarious. That was
Yeah.
the number one question I got. Like the string of questions was, "What's your favorite movie?" When I was in college, which is I don't have one. Who's your favorite director? I don't have one. Why are you in film school? Those are the 3 questions I got asked all the time.
Yeah, and your resume was like slapping together like some
Yeah.
YouTube videos.
And when I talked to my the guy who taught me color, I was like, how do I get better at color? And he said color. Color, color, color was
Yeah.
like his motto.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you have downtime? Go color.
Yeah,
Pull up a project, color.
because sooner or later it won't be, hey, we need to go to our senior manager of whatever. It's let's go to Carl.
Yeah.
Let's go to find John.
Yeah.
We gotta find Tom. We gotta find Danielle. She knows everything, right? That's what it becomes in a company. We don't go, hey, you need to go to this manager. It's, hey, you need to go to insert your name here. Because that's what you're really trying to be if you want to stay with this company. I want to move on to something a little bit more philosophical, which is my big lesson of the year. Let me reach back this time. I'll reach back into the podcast and pull out the word I had to Google earlier, Utori. The idea of making space for something was very interesting to me. Junichiro Tanizaki wrote a book called In Praise of Shadows. It's a Japanese author. He writes a lot of very interesting Japanese novels, but he wrote this one book that was actually more about design than anything else. And he talks about how Japanese design does not shun away things that are dark or things that look worn or things with texture and detail. Think about westernized design and, you know, in its origins, everything was clean, shiny porcelain, super well lit. Think about, and he really illustrated it using the bathroom thing. The bathrooms for a lot of people are bright white walls and tile and porcelain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything, it's like we're trying to shine as much light into an area as possible, keep it as clean as possible, so we can see every individual speck of dirt and then be able to eliminate it. A Japanese traditional bathroom is outdoors. It's like you walk a little bit distance down this garden path and you get to this hole in the ground that's surrounded by like nice foliage that kind of hides the scent, and there are mountain flowers around you or whatever, and it's outdoors, you're in nature, and it's around, you know, all kinds of like detail that's different. He talks about lighting. The light bulb is very bright. Like, and then when we switch to our, you know, higher energy, lower wattage, cleaner bulbs, they're even brighter and more white. He says the superior light is the lantern, a literal candlelight behind a sheet of paper, because the paper is actually removing the harshness of the light and bringing out the beauty of things in their subtlety. He talks about no drama and different types of Japanese plays. When you watch a traditional play, they have to be lantern lit, because that's how it brings out the beauty in what they're doing. Same thing in cups. You see a traditional Western style cup is a teacup. Very porcelain, very shiny, it has to be utterly perfect. A crack would be wrong. A crack in Japanese pottery is filled with gold. It's highlighted. Actually, they prefer that their lacquerware is well worn, because that shows you that it's more used and more reliable. It's more texture. In a Western home, if you have dark corners, that's inefficient. In Japanese architecture, they deliberately design a corner to be dark. What does darkness do to your mind? It gives your mind room to work. It's one of the things I like about clean spaces, is that it's less disturbing to the mind and it's giving your mind room to work. The same is true of darkness in that it gives your mind more room to think that way. Sometimes people are afraid of dark, but that's because there are parts of their own minds they're afraid of that they're confronting in that darkness, in that way. And you come to the idea of Utori, and how do you take this idea of making space in practice? Well, it's pausing. Don't say anything, don't think anything. Just be in the moment and see what comes out of it. A lot of Zen, and the idea of meditation in Zen, is that you are actually eliminating the things that are illusion, eliminating the things of the ego, the thought, the fear, the doubts. And when you do so, you are left with nothing but what is actually real, just the present moment and your presence in it. And what's more is that in the depth of meditation, you find out who you really are, the actual thing that is left over when all the ego is gone. So when you apply that to yourself, there's a term in Coptic Christianity called kenosis. Kenosis is meant to be, it's a Greek word that's meant to be like emptying yourself so that you have room to be filled with God in that way. But if you apply it in a Zen meditation sense, it's emptying yourself so that you have room to find out who you really are. Now, if I was to spiritually say that who you really are is that thing that God intended, well, now we're finding some connection between these terms a little bit. So emptying yourself of, okay, well, I am not this worry. I am not this fear, this anger, this anxiety, or even this depression. I am something beyond it. So if I allow myself to empty, and it's not like in the sense that we're filled with something, that we need to go to some trouble to pour out ourselves. I think a lot is made of pouring out ourselves, and that it becomes a whole other egoic activity that people indulge in, but rather just letting go. What if I just stopped? And it feels really weird to say, what if I just stop being anxious or stop being depressed? But
Yeah.
sometimes it is you who's holding on.
Yeah.
And
I've done that many times. It's like I remember there was a time something happened, and it was something I would normally get mad at. And when it happened, I wasn't mad, but I felt like I should be mad. And so I started reacting angrily when I wasn't mad. And so when I caught that, I was like still being mad, and then I was like, I'm not actually mad though. So
I'm
I just kind of like,
play-acting.
yeah. So I kind of took that idea and like let myself calm down and be like, I'm not really mad at this.
Oh, you're gonna be
Done.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I take that a step further. So kenosis is something you can practice internally. Something you can practice externally. I'm going to coin this term a little bit. Kenotopia. A topia, like a utopia or a dystopia or something like that, we usually say it's like a type of world. It's a kingdom, right? So if you think about kenotopia as an empty kingdom. But if you apply the same thing, if you want something in your life, your first instinct is to go out and reach for it. But you never think about what's going to happen once you got it. I'm like a dog chasing cars. I want to know what to do if I actually ever caught one. But it's because, can your life have a car as a dog? Does a dog have a garage to keep a car in? Can a dog afford car insurance? Have you made space for the thing that you want in your life? Right? Or are you just thinking about getting it? And the more I started to observe this, the more I was interested in it, because like the number one thing I actually hear from the best people at managing wealth and the best people at getting rich is they invest a lot. They give away the stuff that they got. They give their money into other places. They give their money to other people. They're very generous. Really wealthy people are actually very generous. And that's how the people, like how they get the most amount of wealth back. In nature, when you create emptiness, nature doesn't like a vacuum, it fills it up. So if you create a void in your life with something, that void has to be filled up. So if you strategically apply this idea, I want more people in my life. So I'm actually going to give my time and effort away to people to be around them more. And that creates a void in my life for people to then come in. I will have cured my loneliness by giving myself away in that way, in that sense. Same thing is true of your hard work. If you want to rise up at your job, you have to be the giver. You have to create space in your life in some form. I wanted health to come into my life, so I gave up indulgence of gluttonous indulgence, and now health is coming back to me because I made a void for it. Right? So creating something in your world is a great way to have that filled up. I love to go back for this to the analogy of gardening. You have to prepare plots in your garden for the things that you want in your life. Your different relationships are like different plants. You got to tend them differently. The things you want the most, those are like trees, versus the things that you don't want that are like weeds. Some things bear fruit, some things bear flowers in different types of the year, and you got to decide what you want most. And then most importantly, you got to prepare your garden plot for it. And you have to put in the effort towards tending that garden plot if you want the right thing to grow. So kenotopia, I always come back to applying it. It is making space for who you really are is kenosis. Making space for the world you want to live in is kenotopia. Those were the two like really big things I kept reflecting on this year. And I'm in a space right now where I'm like working on that. I'm looking ahead right now and going, okay, what do I want life to be filled in? I'm in like a transitional career period. I want to be an author. So I'm making more time in my schedule to work on my book. I'm making more time coming up to work on this podcast. And most importantly, and this kind of ties back to one of your lessons that you mentioned earlier, which is just make time right here and right now to just be here right now.
when it first came to me this year, solidly, that about taking my time and being in the moment, it was on that whole titles thing and doing and thinking about the future, thinking about the past, and kind of taking that advice from Jesus, let tomorrow worry about itself. And it's like being here now, not worrying about what I'm going to do this week, when I'm going to ask for this promotion or anything like that. When's the next time I'm going to grade a movie? When's the next anything? What am I going to do? How am I going to plan? And how am I going to take all these steps to get where I want to be and be who I want to be? It's like, how about just be right here? And if my goal is, okay, I want to be fit, well, fit people work out. It's like, okay, well, let's work out right now. I'm right here.
Yeah.
Be the person.
That's the tree you want in your garden plot. Start working on it.
Yeah. When it came to color, I looked at my buddy Bruno, who is a colorist I work with as well. He's in the same situation as I am. His title is online editor, but he colors. He's coloring a movie right now. Not this moment, but And outside of work, he'll send me videos. He's like, yo, check this video out about it's some Resolve tutorial, some guy talking about color. Or it's some other thing, or he goes and talks to me. He's like, I was watching all these videos over the weekend. I was coloring this thing. And I thought, wow, that guy colors. He's a colorist. He colors. Outside of work and coloring, I don't really do that. And I was like, I need to do that. And so and that resulted in me one time sitting here at home going, what do I want to do right now? It's like, well, what do I want to be? Colorist. Okay. And I looked up a color video right then and there.
It takes
outside of work.
It takes a little bit of discernment to know when thinking about the future is you making space for a thing or filling up your now with thoughts of the future.
Yeah,
you know?
That's an interesting thing I hadn't thought about. It's kind of like...
There's a difference between daydreaming and planning.
Yeah. And so I'd say that the little bridge to gap that would be, what can I do right now to do that thing in the future? To become that person, to become that thing, to do that thing later on at a larger grand scale. It's like, do some small thing to it right now. Always
ground your plan in something in the present.
Yeah.
Because that's how you know it's really real.
Yeah.
Because if it never grounds to the present, then it's never real.
You know what I'm thinking now is like, I have a lot of moments where I have a lot of plans about who I would like to be and what I would like to do. And I'm thinking maybe the best way to get there would be when I'm lamenting that I'm not that person, or that I'm not the sort of person who does those things, that whatever that title is that I want. When I'm thinking about that specific area, why don't I just do that thing right now?
I always thought I would have to wait until I was rich to go to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I actually had the present power to ground what I wanted to do in the present moment, which was just buy one ticket at a time.
Yeah.
Versus getting caught up in this idealized dream of having a lot of money to afford the best possible trip in the future. Which I had a great trip already without having to be super rich.
Yeah.
And the difference was that if the dream of being super rich is like, what if I just stumble on the right meme coin? What if I buy a lottery ticket at the right time? Yeah. That's not grounded in right now. That's not something I can do right now, right? So it's got to be something you can ground yourself in the now. And what you can do to ground yourself right now is hit follow, like, and subscribe on the Forest Creek podcast.
Dang. I've always wanted to be a Forest Creek follower.
Yeah. Just be here right now with me and just, look at your phone or your laptop screen or wherever it is that you're listening to this and just hit the plus, hit the heart, hit whatever the button is.
Look at that thumb.
There's a thumb.
Nice thumb.
Hit it. Did you know that they added comments on Spotify now?
I have seen that.
Can you imagine somebody commenting on our podcast?
I thought you were gonna go the way I did and solve it. Can you imagine commenting on Spotify?
I've seen it. Spotify comments read like comments anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's no less better or worse. If anything, I find them useful because I love listening to a lot of long form self-help discussions and stuff like that. And it's nice to know what other people in the chat say because sometimes they give a good point about, is this even worth your time listening to? There's a lot of podcasts out there, of which this one should be number 1. Hit 5 stars. Give us a good review. We'd really appreciate that, actually.
Think about the idea of being a person who gives good reviews, or reviews at all. Here's how you can start now.
You start right now. You be a podcast connoisseur. There's a title for you.
There you go. The one to chase.
Hit 5 stars on this and everybody will know this guy's got taste. They know what to fold laundry to.
It is funny how little you need to have to convince people you're like involved in something.
Which is something that we're one of our many announcements that we're about to get started with. Our Instagram page is coming soon.
Oh, even I didn't know this.
Raffaello Reviews.
Oh, I did maybe know this.
This is a semi-parody review thing that you and I are starting, which we've discussed before, where we will be posting reviews of stuff we try. Because we're men of considerable taste. Mm-hmm. We know a thing or two about drinks, dining, and all other kinds of luxury
maple
indulgences.
whiskey while we were doing this podcast, and it's not even advertised as maple.
No. In fact, you called it that because you know what note is in there. Yeah. Which is just a testament to just our incredible taste. Oh yeah. So that's coming. I'm very excited about that. So we're putting that together. More details to come soon. Speaking of where you would find those details, well, of course we have at the Forest Creek. Instagram is our favorite place, but we're on all your social medias. We even have a Substack, substack.com/theforestcreek. That's correct.
You said that so confidently that I believe you.
It is. We do indeed have that Substack.
And that is the correct address.
We will be writing stuff there eventually. Speaking of eventualities, we have finally acquired the hallowed domain.
theforestcreek.com.
That's
I tried
it.
to do a little thing and it didn't work.
Well, you were just,
You can just cut that out.
you were singing the trumpets right there.
Yeah.
We finally got the domain, theforestcreek.com, and now I actually have to build a website
Hold on,
for it.
don't tell me it's called The Hallowed, The Forest Creek.
No, it's theforestcreek.com. theforestcreek.com, at the Forest Creek, youtube.com/@therealforestcreek, because you know who that is, it's us. We have a really exciting thing that's coming up, is a show that I wanted to give value to the audience. So we have a pilot coming up for a really fun show. Well, 2 interesting shows, one of them being more fun maybe, but I just recorded the pilot episode of Life and Career, which will be a life and career podcast where I talk to guests and find out more about how they got to do what they do. And it'd be a really great thing for people who want to, learn a little bit more about the professional world and learn about the different kind of career paths you can take. Check it out, Life and Career. Our pilot will be coming here on this RSS feed, and then if you like it there, you can follow it to its own channel. Same with Whence Runner. What is Whence Runner? It is our new... I almost said it's our new adventure zone.
It's our new adventure zone.
Well, Whence Runner is our multifaceted project here at the Forest Creek. It is our creative fiction brand. That's right. Starting with a podcast that will, again, be piloting on this RSS feed. Our Whence Runner podcast, our first episode of Turnip Taverns, which is a tabletop RPG game that we're going to be playing. We also have a Whence Runner creative fantasy fiction series that is coming out, and we'll have audio versions also releasing, as well as a second tabletop RPG game that we'll be playing, starring some of your favorite guests, including Jarrod.
Hello, and also some of your least favorite guests.
Who's not here to defend himself, poor Chance.
Yeah.
And some of our other friends who will be coming on. We are Whence Runners.
If you have anyone you'd like to see on the show...
Shut up. Don't. Absolutely not. Stop. Put it in the Spotify comments we won't read. How about that? Just kidding. Please give us 5 stars. But if you do want to get in contact with us, we are theforestcreek@gmail.com. So send us a message there. Send us things you want us to talk about on this podcast, because this podcast, and this is maybe a less exciting announcement, but we're shifting to a quarterly format so we can bring you more interesting updates and values, and just say hello every once in a while.
Hi.
So we can focus on bringing you value, and then you can come and hang out with us once in the season.
Hey, here's some value.
Here's some value. Most of all, we just want to thank you for being here with us right now. I'm Raph.
I'm Jarrod.
See you later.